Recipes with Lily Library. Today we're back with another cooking video, and today's book that we're featuring is by Nora Roberts and it's called The Awakening, and it's the first in the new 3-part series by this author. The book is set in Ireland, and in the book the main character's name is Breen and her friend Marco go to visit Ireland, and they go to a cottage that's kind of magical, but you will find that out later if you read the book. When they get to the cottage, the owner has made them a fresh loaf of brown Irish soda bread. So that's what we're going to make today because it just really sounded delicious if you ask me. Irish soda bread is a staple in Irish cooking, and it's super easy to make, and it doesn't involve any proving or rising or yeast or anything like that. You just need baking soda. The first thing that you're going to do is combine all of your dry ingredients in a bowl and whisk them together so that they're nicely combined. Our dry ingredients include 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of whole wheat flour, half a cup of rolled oats, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Just going to mix those up nicely in your bowl, and then the next thing you're going to need is some buttermilk. Now, I actually didn't have any buttermilk on hand, but I have a trick for you. You can make your own with plain milk and either lemon juice or white vinegar. So what I used is white vinegar. You're going to use a tablespoon of vinegar to 1 cup of milk. And this recipe actually calls for 1 3/4 cups of milk. So I did 1 tablespoon and then another 3/4 of a tablespoon. And you mix that in with your milk and let it sit for about 5 minutes, and voila, you have your own buttermilk. The recipe also calls for 2 tablespoons of molasses, and we're going to mix the molasses in with our buttermilk if you make your own after it's had time to sit for about 5 minutes. Then it's time to combine your wet ingredients with your dry ingredients. And to do that, you're going to make a well in the center of your dry ingredients. So you're just going to kind of push the dry ingredients up around the sides of the bowl so you have a nice little well in the middle. And you're going to pour your wet mixture into the center of the well. Slowly, you're going to stir your wet mixture and incorporate little bits of flour as you go. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to do that. Now I've just added my molasses to my buttermilk, and you're going to give that a nice stir so that they're well incorporated. You can see my buttermilk has turned a really nice caramel color from the molasses, and because it's been well incorporated, this is exactly what we want. Now hopefully you can see the well I've made in my bowl of my dry ingredients. I've gone down all the way to the bottom of the bowl in the center and then pushed up the dry ingredients along the outsides. Now we're going to add our buttermilk mixture into the center of the well that we created. Next, we're going to take a fork and we're going to slowly stir our wet ingredients in the center of our well while we carefully incorporate little bits of flour as we go. This is going to form our dough. Now, as you can see, my dough has become nice and thick, and I haven't quite mixed in all the flour yet because it's getting a little tough to stir. So what I'm going to do is flour my hands, and we're going to mix this by hand and lightly knead it until everything's combined. Okay, now we're left with a nice soft dough, and it's a little sticky, so make sure your hands are really well floured when you're going in to do the last bit of kneading to incorporate your dry ingredients. Next, we're going to turn our dough out onto a lined cookie sheet. I have parchment paper on mine, and we're going to shape it into a round loaf and pat it down until it's about 2 inches thick. The next important part is to cut a deep cross on the center of your dough. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife, and you want to go down pretty far into your bread. You can see my knife kind of disappears. Now we're going to pop our bread into the oven at 450 degrees for 15 minutes. And then after that 15 minutes, we'll drop the temperature to 400 and bake it for another 20 to 25 minutes. There you have your brown Irish soda bread from the book The Awakening by Nora Roberts. The bread is super simple and really quick to make, and it's the perfect thing for bringing to a friend's or having for dinner. Because it's a brown bread, it's a little harder to tell when it's done, and you don't want it to burn, obviously. So the best way to check is by flipping your loaf over and tapping the bottom, and if it sounds hollow, then your bread is done. Mine took exactly 20 minutes and it was perfectly cooked in the middle. I ate a slice with butter and honey, and it was amazing. And it might be just as good with a slice of cheese or even on a sandwich or with a bowl of chili. I hope you make this. The recipe will be in the description of this video, and also we'll post it to our Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. And it was perfectly, and it might be just as good with a slice of Irish cheese if you need.